say what's up, Headspaces. Yet another one, another album review. It's VJ, the brother from the ancient mother. And I guess if you've been following these recent reviews, you've noticed a pattern where a lot of Cape Town artists have been putting out albums and a lot of PTA artists have been putting out albums. I keep pitting the two together because this episode is coming. I have to say, this year and for a lot of the last quarter, got 2021, losing track, we've really seen these two scenes rise to supremacy, each in their own way. And I'm proud to be a South African in times where I feel that there's a lot of vibrant, diverse and unique artists all giving their authentic voice from Cape Town and from PTA, really compounding into what is now the SA hip-hop scene. My opinion is that if you ask me who's really dominating right now, I'd say they're holding hands in camaraderie and all doing their things together, mainly because we saw Maklera doing something with D Koala, so I think there's more potential to unite than there is to divide. Anyways, why did I bring that whole shit up? I am reviewing yet another Cape Town artist project. Another pivotal member of that whole Cape Town trap, Xhosa trap wave, Soul-T Idyan, the panache, the snazzy swag, always front and center, giving us the characteristic Cape Town trap sound. He drops his album. The project is called Mfana Cape Town. Is it okay?
Yeah, Mfana Cape Town.
Mfana Cape Town. Yes, can't get it wrong. And I think it's pretty apt to title it that because this project really feels like a transmission into Soul-T Idyan's inner sanctum. He takes you through the hood, through his moments, and it feels like one day he just takes you as the listener and says, listen, we're gonna have a hell of a night, just stay safe and just listen to me. And he takes you through this journey. It's a wild, adventurous, momentous occasion, and it feels like a night of ecstatic fun with the Soul-T Idyan. One thing I love about Soul-T is he's got this, lackadaisical, Google the word, and carefree delivery. I love listening to rappers who sound like they're having fun while rapping. Because a lot of these motherfuckers be sounding angry,
yeah.
And they're sounding sad and morbid. And I think if you want to channel a voice or a vocal projection that really attracts an audience, tapping into that sense of excitement is probably the most effective way to do it. I mean, who doesn't love listening to somebody passionately express themselves, especially when they do it skillfully about something that they love? And I think the extra secret spice to Soul-T's whole thing is that there's very few rappers who sound excited about rapping all the time, because a lot of what rap has become is business and it takes away the passion and the lifeblood. And I think something about him just doesn't let that fade away. He always raps like he loves it to the bottom of his heart, and he's still excited and excitable about it, like a little kid. And it's this kind of childlikeness that's so attractive to kind of go into. So that's the first thing, just listening to this whole project as it opens up. The first song is a title song, so it's Mfana Cape Town, and he basically takes you through why he's the assertive, unapologetic child of his ghetto, how he's taken the best and the worst and been able to make use of it. And the one thing I love about how this song opens up is that it pretty much sends you to the dance floor, but then it transitions and goes all intimate. It goes into this kind of exit where he then becomes more reflective. He then says, listen, it might be all fun and games, but there's still a lot of fundamental things we worry about, and as people it's okay to be able to rejoice and celebrate ourselves, but at the very same time there are moments where we need to look at how far we've come and what the fundamental things we need to achieve are. That moment in this album had me, because from then on it consistently just becomes like a manifesto to a good time, but it doesn't ignore the fact that responsibility is always at play. The beats here are hard and they knock with a certain kind of this album feels bright and yellow and misty, like the sun penetrating on the hills of Cape Town, while the spirit of Soul-T Idyan overlooks both the oppressed people and tries to navigate his way into these spaces of privilege with this talent he has of rapping in this context of hip-hop. So I enjoy it. It feels like he's really, like I said in the beginning, taking you through this journey and bringing his friends along. One of Cape Town's most phenomenal rappers is Holy Alpha. She holds it down in their collaboration, where they basically just go into navigating just ghetto life in that swag that's so typically Ekapa. And she definitely made her presence felt. Definitely one rapper to look out for in the game right now. Shout out to Holy Alpha. And there's also just so much about this album which carries a narrative. If you really listen to it, he tells two stories. He tells the story of fundamentally being Idyan, you know, and what that means is a man. And I guess a man in this sense is somebody who's the center of being able to provide, is a giver. And being able to give is being able to hustle, because if you can't hustle, then you can't give. And Soul-T hustles his way into being able to give what he can to his family, to his homies when they need a little something, but also to this chick called Umbali. She remains a part of this story and this album in a way that's humorous, in a way that kind of paints a picture and also turns it into something very interesting. And I love the creativity from that, because I mean, when last have rappers really given us short stories to listen to and really managed to become consistent with it through the album? So this kind of structure turns it into a concept album, and I can't help but feel like hidden in Soul-T Idyan's whole identity as a rapper is this question: what is a man? Indoni Idyan. Just apart from the idea that Idyan comes from the etymology of Yan, and Yan, as we know, is this kind of typical figure in the context of South African culture of somebody who's able to, you know, put money on the table. John, or Boss John, the boss. So again, is that all masculinity is? Are we men because of the measure of our success and our ability to provide? And if that's the case, does that involve having a penis? Does that involve having a circumcised penis? An uncircumcised penis? Are you black? Are you white? This whole identity of what makes up Idyan is the question that Soul-T Idyan asks in a way that doesn't feel like an interrogation. He kind of probes you, but he probes you in a way that's silly, and he'll say things like Idyan I catch, and you want yourself asking, really? Because man, if Idyan I catch, I need to consider myself in the equation. But point is, Soul-T Idyan's not trying to do any kind of real philosophical work around the concept of manhood. He's just trying to push us a bit and make us scratch our heads, and it's fun and exciting to listen to. And I would say the production on this really manages to become something more than just a rendition of trap. There are moments here, like I said, that are very original. They stick out starkly because of their ability to be able to depict something that I feel is really authentically South African. There's something about the keys, the hues, and the tones of this album that feel extremely local, and it doesn't strangle its ability to become global. It actually amplifies that, because the uniqueness of Soul-T Idyan's message is something that transcends Cape Town. The question of masculinity, the question of what we do with ourselves when we are in positions of power and how to empower ourselves and each other, is one that goes beyond culture. So I'm gonna give this project ultimately in solid 8 out of 10. The only reason I don't give it the extra 2 is because there's no real sense of novelty. Soul-T Idyan and his team are not trying to push beyond the barometer of what's been done. They're safely playing into what's trendy right now, but it, like I said, it knocks. You will enjoy this project bumping it into your car, having fun on a journey, and definitely in the club. People play this whole thing in the club. It is a party album. and it's a party album with the spirit of reflection. So I appreciate that. That's probably why I gave it that. It could have been a 7. It definitely could have been a 7.5. But the reason I sent it to 8 is because, again, he doesn't just say let's turn up. He says let's turn up, but let's understand why we feel the need to turn up, and let's understand what happens after we turn up, because at the end of the day we still got life to live, and living life isn't just about chasing the fun, it's about reflecting on the serious moments. Shout out Soul-T Idyan, shout out Cape Town Trap Wave, shout out Cape Town Hip Hop, shout out SA Hip Hop. It's been beautiful and I want to see more and more and more. Solid 8 out of 10. VJ the brother from the ancient mother. Mfana Cape Town is doing big things right now. Salute.